So we're looking at Macaé now, a 62% dark chocolate, so down by a couple of percentages. What area are we looking at for this chocolate?
We are going to Brazil.
Ah.
Very sunny, very warm Brazil. And on the bag, Valrhona mentioned the word tea, black tea. So that means when I hear black tea, I think of tannin, the tannin in the tea, and tannin in coffee, tannin in red wine, tannin in a cocoa bean. So we should have this slightly drying bit at the end and this kind of tannins coming through with some sweetness as well and some fruitiness. So there is fruity notes. There are fruity notes within the chocolate. However, we all have our view of what fruity is. If you are a berry eater, a tropical fruit eater, an apple eater, a banana eater. So if something says fruity, generally my brain automatically goes to lighter and brighter, but not necessarily acidic. So let's have a try and say what you think about the fruity side of this.
Thank you.
Along with those tannins from the black tea. But no black tea in it, of course, the character of black tea.
All coming from the cocoa bean itself.
Yeah.
So texture-wise, nice snap immediately, not very crumbly,
Nice
very
and soft.
snappy.
Nice and soft when it melts.
So as far as black tea goes, I don't get a great deal of that. As you say, that's not necessarily correct or incorrect. It's based on their specs.
It's neither right nor wrong.
Yeah.
Because what if you've never had a black tea?
Exactly.
Lots of people have never had a black tea. It is Valrhona doing their great job at analysing and giving the chocolate character, giving it an identity, which helps you buy it. So when you are looking at those four words of this is the identity Valrhona are expressing. But you might get one part of it. I get the fruity bit, and I get a drying feeling on my tongue, which is the tannin. But it's not necessarily saying it tastes of black tea.
It's fruity, but in a very, very different way from the manjari.
Yeah, very. It makes your mouth water, but not in the same way. It's kind of softer, but there is a dryness to it. There's kind of like a tannin if you have a full-bodied red wine and you've swallowed that, and then you're left with a kind of you can feel your mouth more. It kind of feels rough, but it's not a rough texture at all. It's smooth and silky.
I was just about to say, it is very similar to drinking, as you say, a red wine, and you get that kind of dry feeling afterwards for a moment. It's a very similar feeling to that.
But very good for tea ganache. It works with tea ganache. It works with delicately roasted nuts. There's a slight nuttiness in there as well. But you could easily then pop it with a fruit, a rhubarb. If you want to do a rhubarb pâté de fruits and chocolate layer, for example, it's not going to overpower those fruits. However, for me, I wouldn't put strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries with it like I would with the manjari. I would go on the other side of the fruits, more tropical fruits maybe, even some very ripe peaches and apricots. But it's still quite delicate. It's not overpowering. It's robust, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah.
So it's about using those unique notes and flavours to your advantage to make the absolute best of it.
And I have a method, I have a rule for all of these. And if anyone's watching who isn't sure, who's thinking, well, how will I know whether it's right or wrong for me? Sometimes it's instant. We know the instant ones. They're quite often the indulgent ones, like Valrhona Dolce, which is like the most indulgent, caramelized, buttery, biscuity white chocolate. And you eat it and you go, yeah, I'm having that. You know, you fall in love immediately. With this, I have a 2-week rule. I think everyone should do it. Say you sent me the 66 alpaca, I've never had it. I'm going to eat it morning before breakfast, one piece of it. You don't have to write notes, but you can. Middle of the day, before or after lunch, and then in the evening. Just a piece. Because everyone's going to eat your finished chocolates at a different time of day. After tea, coffee, beer, wine, food, all kinds of things. Have it for 2 weeks. When you first taste it, you might not love it. You might like it. And then at the end of those 2 weeks, you've had a lot of dates, haven't you? You've been out a lot. You get to know after 2 weeks whether you're going to go have more dates with that person, or whether you're going to use that chocolate, whether you're going to bring it in and invest in it and go, I'm going to make chocolates out of you. And after that 2 weeks, if it's an absolute no, you say, no, I still don't like it. It's a no. If you like it, you're probably going to use it somewhere. It might be that it's a chocolate that you're going to blend with other things to be part of your recipes. Or if I'm absolutely in love with this, it'll probably become 3 or 4 products within your line. So a single origin bar, a truffle, a caramel, an ice cream, a biscuit. That's how I know whether using a new chocolate. That's how I did this with Valrhona. They will tell you that's what I've always said. It's 2 weeks, because you will know after 2 weeks whether it's right or not, and whether it's an absolute no or there is an application for it. I'll give you an example. For me, Carib is not an eating chocolate for me to eat as a piece of chocolate every day. But I love it as part of a ganache or a caramel or a something else. I use it as an ingredient. Whereas I'd quite happily eat a full bar mangiare, you know, as it is, and as a truffle, and as a caramel, and as other things. And then with Valrhona, there are very few that are an absolute no for me, because I've always loved them and I like the character, but there are some I just need to use carefully. And that's the way. It doesn't have to be a yes or a no. Just kind of think about your collection, think about where you can add value, because the whatever we want to say, Valrhona, the name, has value. It's a prominent name. It's a name of luxury. It's a name of quality. And it's a name that chocolatiers and pastry chefs know. And you can use it on your menu. You can use it on your Valrhona Single Origin Madagascan truffle. Use it that way. You know, you're allowed to. And it shows people that you're proud to say whose chocolate you're using. Because as chocolatiers, we don't make chocolate. We make chocolates. So you might as well celebrate, if you're proud of it, celebrate it and name the chocolate. That adds value. That gives a customer a reason to buy that, maybe over some of your other chocolates. And you then can start to build either a more premium collection to your chocolates or a signature collection. And it could just be a box of 4, a box of 6, single origin truffles, each one with its character. And that adds value into the business because you've still got all of your other products. So that's what I did. It was important that I had a single origin truffle, and it changed regularly. And with that, you have to buy a single origin chocolate that has character, that gives you a description, that gives the consumer a reason to buy that over something else as part of your collection.
Yeah.
And that's how you make it work. That's how you get a more premium chocolate into your collection without thinking, oh my goodness, I have to give up a big chunk of my business and change it over. It's a gradual step if you've never used it before. And listen to the customer feedback. Because if it tastes great, they'll tell you it does.
Absolutely.
I guess it's like adding a gourmet sort of ethical line as well, isn't it, into your business?
That's a really good way to do it. It is exactly that. And it's scary to either give up some products you've been making a long time, because it's very hard to just keep adding more and more and more in. You might be at capacity already. Don't be afraid to, because consumers know what tastes good. Valrhona wouldn't make these couvertures if they didn't sell and if they didn't taste great. And they're consistently good flavour-wise. So if you want a product that delivers the same single origin flavour every single time, then Valrhona can do that.
Fantastic advice for the customers. Thank
Yeah.
you, Paul.
Thank you.